Hello, children. Today we are going to discuss Chapter 4 Heat for Class 7 Science in this video lesson. There will be a partial coverage of this chapter in this lesson, and the remaining portion we will be covering in the second part of the lesson. The main contents of the chapter are here mentioned. Firstly, we will be talking about few questions related to the topic. Then we will discuss about hot and cold determination of any object just by touching. Further, we will continue with the discussion about how to measure temperature using clinical thermometer. Few other types of thermometers will also be discussed. In detail, we will cover up the laboratory thermometer. A comparison between clinical and laboratory thermometer will also be emphasized. Then we will introduce the topic transfer of heat, mentioning about three modes of transfer of heat. They are conduction, convection, and radiation. One activity to show the conduction in solids will be discussed. Till here, we will be covering up in the first video lesson, and the second video lesson will be covering the remaining topics, which are two activities will be discussing about convection in liquids and gases. Further, sea breeze and land breeze formation will also be discussed. Radiation of heat and introductory discussion will be there in front of you. One activity to show that black surface absorbs maximum heat and white surface reflects maximum heat will also be covered up. Finally, you will get an idea about how to trap heat using layer of air. This will be the coverage of the whole lesson, whole chapter heat, but the video 1 will be covering only the content up to the activity showing conduction in solids. Here are the questions. Why do we wear warm clothes in winter and cotton clothes in summer? How do we know whether an object is hot or cold? How do we determine extent of hotness or coldness of an object? The answers to these questions you will be finding in the proceeding of the lesson. Let's have a look over this arrangement where we are showing you three containers. Say these containers are marked as A, B, and C. In container A, we are taking hot water. In container B, we are taking cold water. And in container C, we are taking the water by mixing both hot and cold water from the two first containers. Now see what we are going to discuss. Pay attention towards the line. Whether an object is hot or cold, it can be decided by touching the object. This is our practical experience in day-to-day life. Say unknowingly anyone is touching a utensil which is kept over the hot oven. It can be easily determined by the person touching the utensil that the utensil is very hot just by touching. On the other hand, from refrigerator, if any utensil you are taking out, you can easily determine just by touching that it's very cold. Let's continue with the activity description. We have already mentioned about the three containers A, B, C, which is mentioned here. And A is filled with hot water, B is filled with the cold water, C will be filled by mixing hot and cold water. What you have to do, the left hand of the person firstly is dipped in A container and the right hand is dipped in container B. After few minutes, both hands are to be dipped simultaneously in container C. Now what will happen? As left hand was earlier in hot water, so dipping it in container C, the left hand's experience will be the water is cool. On the other hand, as the right hand was earlier in cold water, so dipping it in container C, the right hand will experience the water is slightly hotter. But these two observations may create confusion. At the same time, one hand may feel hot, one hand may feel cool. That gives a wrong information because simultaneously both determinations may not be accepted. To avoid this confusion, the hotness of an object is determined by measuring temperature, and that is the most precise way. So in the coming slide, we will be talking about how to determine temperature using clinical thermometer, and that will be discussed for the human body. In this slide, we are going to discuss about measurement of temperature using thermometer. Very firstly, have a look over the image that is showing a clinical thermometer, which you may have seen at your home also for the purpose of body temperature measurement. Let's have some detailed idea. The name of the device is thermometer. The type of thermometer used for measuring body temperature is known as clinical thermometer. The constructional detail. Here you just can have a look over the constructional detail that the thermometer is basically having a bulb kind of a structure which is filled with mercury. Then the whole structure is made up of the glass tube, and just follow the lines. Just above the bulb there is a small shining thread of mercury, and there is a scale on the thermometer which is graduated in terms of degree Celsius. Now the meaning of the term graduated is marked. Now see here, we were talking about the bulb. So this is the bulb filled with the mercury. Just above it, this is the shining thread of the mercury. Then this whole structure is made up of glass. Here is the marking section you can see. And this side you can see there is degree Celsius written. And if you can keenly observe, it is written degree Fahrenheit. We will be talking about it just in short while. Let's proceed. Clinical thermometer reads temperature from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. This is the range of the clinical thermometer. There is one more scale on clinical thermometer with range 94 to 108 degrees. And as I have mentioned already, it is marked in Fahrenheit and is shown by degree Fahrenheit. Continuing with the next area, how to take reading using the thermometer. Let's proceed with the detailed procedure. Firstly, what we have to do, reading of two bigger marks are to be taken, and the temperature difference between these two bigger marks is noted down. Have a look over the diagram. Say we are taking any two bigger marks. Suppose this 35 and 37. Now, according to the instruction, we have to take the temperature difference between these two bigger markings. And obviously, the temperature difference is 2 degrees Celsius. Next, what you have to do, also number of smaller divisions between the two bigger marks is noted down. Now, how is done? If the view is clear, you can see from 35 to 37, there are the set of 10 markings. So, total 20 divisions are there between 35 to 37. Further, the temperature difference, say the temperature difference we have already explained, it is 2 degrees Celsius in the present case. is then divided by this number of small divisions, which is now 20, to get the value of one small division. Now by that, you will get the value of one small division to be equal to 2 upon 20, which stands equal to 0.1 degree Celsius. Here is the value of one small division. Now, let's continue with the next discussion, which is in your view. Yes. Thermometer should be definitely washed with antiseptic solution. Wait a while, children. It is very important. Then it is strongly jerked to bring the level of mercury down below 35 degrees Celsius. Then only you should be starting taking the reading. After that, the bulb is placed under the tongue for a time interval of 1 minute. And finally, the reading is expressed in degrees Celsius. This is the complete procedure regarding measurement of the temperature using clinical thermometer, and this should be the way it has to be used for a precise reading. Now, in the forthcoming slide, we will have few more details about the clinical thermometer. Let's have some more idea about the use of clinical thermometer. Here in this particular diagram, back again we are showing clinical thermometer only, but with slight additional information. You can pay attention towards this term written bend. Bend means here in this clinical thermometer, just above the bulb section, there is a bend kind of. Actually, we call it kink. The purpose of this bend is to avoid the mercury to flow back when it is taken out of the contact of the hot body. Let's see further details. This diagram is giving you idea about how correctly the temperature measurement should be done using clinical thermometer. It should be held in such a way that the mercury level is along the line of sight. That is, it should be in the level of eye. Some precautions need to be taken care, which are point number 1. Thermometer should be washed before and after use with antiseptic solution. Point number next, before the use, the mercury level should be brought down, and it is done by strong jerking, we have mentioned already. The next point, while taking reading, the mercury level should be along line of sight. The diagram is confirming this. It should be handled carefully. If it breaks, then mercury being poisonous can cause harmful effect for the user. Thermometer should not be held by its bulb while taking reading. This is a very simple precaution you can understand, because our hand, if we are handling it with the bulb, then because of the temperature of the body, maybe some rise of temperature is already shown, and that will give the incorrect reading. Avoid keeping thermometer in sun or near a flame. It is again for the same purpose, otherwise the reading will be incorrect. Some more important points what you can note down. In clinical thermometer, there is a kink near the bulb which prevents falling back of mercury. We have already explained it in the diagram mentioned. Clinical thermometers should not be used to measure temperature of any other object other than human body. So here this was a complete idea about the clinical thermometer. Let's have a look over some other types of thermometers. Laboratory thermometer. How does it look? This way. The structure, or you can say constructional view, is the same as that of the clinical thermometer. You can see here Like here you can see this is the bulb, same way. The whole structure is made up of the glass tube. Then marking you can see. Only difference is that the marking range is from minus 10 degree to 110 degree Celsius. This is the difference. Then moreover, one more difference is there, that there is no kink available here as it was there in the clinical thermometer. Next, maximum minimum thermometer. What for it is used? It is used for taking the maximum and minimum temperature of the day. Here over the thermometer you can see. Another type of thermometer is digital thermometer. Now here is the view of maximum minimum thermometer, and here is the view of digital thermometer. The digital thermometer is basically used for the purpose of taking accurate reading even up to the position of decimal. Let's have some detailed idea about laboratory thermometer. Firstly, the range. It is from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. Temperature reading should be taken when bulb is in contact with the body or the material. Otherwise, the mercury level falls down and reading will be incorrect. And this is due to the fact that there is no kink. While taking reading, the thermometer should be held vertically. You cannot keep it in any way. Otherwise, again, the same thing, the mercury level will be disturbed. The bulb should not touch the bottom or the side of the container while measuring the temperature of the liquid. In this type of thermometer, there is no kink. Therefore, it cannot be used for measuring body temperature, as mercury falls back when bulb is taken out of the mouth. After taking the reading, when you take out the thermometer out of the mouth, in case of laboratory thermometer, the mercury level starts falling down, and that will give the incorrect reading. Now here is a note point. It is best to use digital thermometer if possible to avoid the use of mercury, as it is highly poisonous. We will go for a comparison between clinical and laboratory thermometer. First, let's have some similarities between the two. Both are made of glass and consist of long, narrow glass tube. At one end, both of them have a bulb. Bulbs of both the thermometers consist of mercury. Celsius scale is present in both the thermometers. Now some differences. Go through these differences one by one. The very first difference is in terms of temperature range. Like in clinical thermometer, the temperature ranges from 35 to 42 degrees Celsius, whereas in case of laboratory thermometer, it is from minus 10 to 110 degrees Celsius. Clinical thermometer used to measure specially the body temperature, whereas the other one, that is laboratory thermometer, is used to measure the temperature of any other object or material. Clinical one is having kink, which prevents the immediate backflow of mercury, but laboratory thermometer doesn't have any kink. There are some differences between the two cases. Now, let's move on to the next slide, which gives you an idea about transfer of heat. That is how heat is transferred from one object to other object or one region to other region. Few introductory points are here. Heat always flows from hotter object, that is object at high temperature, to colder object, that is object at low temperature. Next point, there will be no heat flow if two objects are at same temperature. Definitely, if there is no temperature difference, the heat will not be flowing in any direction. There are three modes by which heat can flow from one object to other object. The first one is conduction, the second one is convection, and the third one is radiation. In solids, heat transfer takes place by conduction. In liquids and gases, heat transfer takes place by convection. If anywhere medium is absent, then heat transfer takes place by radiation. These were some basic details about transfer of heat. Now we will discuss conduction in solids in detail. Have a look over this diagram. This is showing there is a metallic rod. Let's show where is that. There is a metallic rod or a strip which is clamped at one end. The other end you can see it is in not touch, we will say it is quite close to a flame. Now we have fixed here some wax pieces. So after some time what you will be observing that these wax pieces are starting falling down, and the very firstly the piece which is nearest to the flame will fall down. We will now discuss about what is the cause behind this kind of observation. Before that, let's go through the definition of conduction. Conduction is the process by which heat is transferred from hotter end to the colder end of object without any movement of molecules of the solid. In a solid, there are number of molecules which are rigidly stable at their position. They cannot move from their place in any way. So during the heat flow, this is maintained that the molecule do not move. Rather, the heat flows from one end to other end. Let's discuss an activity to show conduction in solids. For this activity, the arrangement is this, what we have already discussed. A metal strip or rod is clamped at one end or kept between with bricks. Few small wax pieces are fixed on strip or rod at equal distances. Now the other end of the rod or the strip is heated with the help of candle. It is observed that wax pieces begin to fall from the end which is facing the candle flame. This demonstrates heat transfers from hotter end to the colder end. Definitely this is confirmed because this end becomes hot end, and obviously the far end is considered the cold end. Now as the heat is transferring from the hot end to the cold end, because of this the nearest wax piece is firstly falling down. And that's why this is confirmed that the heat flows from hotter end to the colder end of the solid. Note point. Metallic pans for cooking has plastic handle because it does not allow conduction of heat and prevents any hurt while handling the hot pan. Now this is very useful point. The material which will not be allowing the flow of the heat will be very useful for this kind of these kind of purposes, like the plastic handle will be preventing any injury or the hurt due to heat which can be in touch with the user's hand. So it prevents the direct flow of heat towards the user's hand.